Hi, this is Leif Johnson. I reviewed the Talos Principle for IGN, and this is a really interesting game. It's made by the makers of the Serious Sam series, but it's a puzzler, much like Portal, Mag Runner, Dark Pulse, that kind of stuff, and it's actually one of my favorite ones. The whole concept here is that you have some challenging puzzles, and it also mixes it with some interesting philosophical ideas, specifically the nature of being, what it takes to be a person. And there's a very good reason for this. As you're walking around here, you look like you're a person and stuff, but hit H and you see that you're a robot. Much like the ones that were in Will Smith's take on I, Robot back in the early 2000s. But the thing is, there's a whole lot of other stuff going on here, and it's told through terminals, it's told through emails, little audio files, and you're trying to piece together the story of what happens. This philosophical story is just as engaging, and it makes you think as just as much as the puzzle parts. The problem is, as I say in the review, it's not really that well connected as it could be. Let's take Portal. You know, you had the story going on, and you also had the puzzles. But you know, about halfway through, especially in Portal 2, the story becomes just as important as the puzzles, and they work together. GLaDOS makes Child do this or that, and I wish we saw a little bit more of that in this game. As it is, the two are kind of separate, although there is a little bit towards the end, but at the same time, it's kind of like where you're just paying attention. But anyway, let's go on here. There's several different zones, and you have to unlock them. You go through these doors right here by getting these little Tetris pieces, Tetronimos, and as you put them together, you can access interface panels, so you can see through here. I've gotten almost everything except the red ones. And the red ones are important because there's this guy that's talking to you the whole time. He's Elohim, which is the Hebrew word for God and gods. And you learn early on, so I don't really think it's that much of a spoiler, that, you know, maybe this guy isn't God. You'll see little blips in the screen occasionally. You'll hear audio mishaps, and it kind of leads you to believe that maybe this is some kind of holodeck projection as opposed to an actual world. And then, of course, when you get to the central hub, you see this thing, which is kind of like Stephen King's Dark Tower, and Elohim doesn't want you to go in here. And that's the whole point of the red pieces, is to get you to go in here, and Elohim does not like that. There's different zones over here. It doesn't look like it, but that's ancient Egypt. And if I go in here, it's going to be like medieval France. And this is the way that you pick up the story along here. And so here's this. You would go in. Normally this would be beeping and booping at me for me to pay attention to it. And you click on it. It's some really heavy stuff. Like here you have John Milton, Better to Reign in Hell than Serve in Heaven. And I believe the second one here for Hell is William Blake. Yes. And you'll find some stupid stuff in there occasionally, which you can access through your tab. And it's stuff like song lyrics, you know. There's everybody talking to each other. And these are a bunch of developers. They're human developers, but you get the sense that these guys have been long gone. And but it's possible they're not. It's possible this could still be the current day. And maybe it's all of a test. So while you're trying to piece all that together, you're doing these puzzles. And the Tetronimos kind of give you an idea of how difficult the puzzle is. The green Tetronimos, they're the easiest ones, and they're used to progress to the different zones. Like you would get a B collection in order to access ancient Egypt, a C collection to access here in medieval France. And so you got the nice cathedrals here. And so let's go on over and see. This is the way you would access a different puzzle room. Jump in, and here we go. Beautiful rainbow. And this too would be another way to check in, and it would start talking to you. Occasionally you'll have surveys and stuff. See, I keep thinking you could click on, or you could just type in the answers. You really can't. I wish you could. I think that would give some kind of interaction, because the whole thing is about whether or not you're a person. And since you're just selecting things, it's not really that interactive. And at one point, it's kind of funny in email, they're going back and forth, and they're pointing out responses. And one of the people says, well, you know, a bot could do all that. And yeah, a bot could easily make those selections. So it kind of, you know, doesn't mesh well with the bit of your whole quest to be a person, even though you look like this and such. So anyway, let's do a puzzle real quick. And let's hopefully real quick. Like this one shows that you need a fan, a block, and a laser connector. There's other stuff. See, there's one of those little bips in the audio. There's other stuff that's like, you know, you can record a version of yourself. So if it would, you know, need two people, it would seem like it would need two people. You go ahead. Occasionally you'll find little QR codes on the walls here. And this isn't quite one. This is to seek counsel. I don't have the thing to seek the counsel yet. Let's see, because this puzzle's so hard, Divine Spirits, I'm in need of your help. And it's going to tell me that, too bad, a messenger must be awakened first. Occasionally you'll see, you know, these QR codes out in the world, and they're usually like, oh, this puzzle's so hard. Oh, Elohim is so great. And but that's really all it amounts to. But if my understanding is correct, when it hits live, you'll see a lot more of those from players in the world as opposed to just little NPCs like what you saw here. So let's try this. So here at the end here is the Tetronimo that I'm talking about. This is what we have to get. We can see a block over here. We can see a block over here. These are what you would connect the lasers to, and that would eventually open that force field. So, okay. So like this would be a fan. I'm going to detach this fan and put it over here. There, that opens that. I'm going to grab this connector. I'm going to grab this box. And see that box over there. Let's go get that. So put that here. There's a case of those little graphical glitches. Put that there. Put that here. Alright, so now that we have an access point, we're going to use this connector. We're going to go back to where we can see the opener over here. And there, the force field is open. So let's grab whatever is in here. It's another crate. So what I believe you're supposed to do here is supposed to get this fan running, and we're going to push the lasers up so that it accesses and unlocks this one right here. Thing is, you can't shoot through gates. It may seem like you can in real life, but you can't. So now that we have that open, what should we do? Let's take our fan back here and make sure we got everything out of here. Let's see. And I'm gonna put that there. Now here's the thing, you can use these connectors and connect everything beforehand before you hook it up. Just for completionist sake, I'll also hook up with that one. Oh, that's the problem. See, I gotta keep this open. I do have to use one of these for this. So now I gotta go back and reset all this. So this is a nice thing about this game. It's full of these little aha moments. You always get it. This can be really tough, but you never feel like you're being cheated. It'll make you work hard. And there's puzzles in here that are star puzzles, and you have to get a star, and it eventually opens a different type of sigil, which is what they call the Tetris pieces in the game. But the star puzzles are really hard, and if you're looking for a challenge, that's where we go. But like I said, you never really feel like you're being cheated, and I just messed it up again. So see, you need to connect everything. I don't think I need to connect that one, but I'm just doing it just in case. Connect that one, and here's the ticket. Connect this one. Now put this up. Now you can see, boom, that it's going there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this block that I had, put it right there. Still not quite high enough. I think I'm at the point where I can take this one. Yes, I am. And boom. There you have it. Very fulfilling. And that's one of the red pieces that'll open the tower. When you do open it, you do actually have to put the Tetris pieces together. It starts off really easily, but then it gets just as challenging as this, as you're trying to put together about 10 pieces and, you know, this Tetris configuration. That's just perfect. And I once sat there for 15 minutes trying to figure it out. It can be tough. But that's the Talos Principle. And like I said, the philosophical elements, they're not as ingrained, they're not as interwoven into the story as well as they should be. They still feel kind of separate. That's not really a bad thing, I think. It gives people a choice of how they want to access the game and play it. But it feels like there could have been so much more done with the story, and I think that's a small disappointment for me. But I had fun. There's really no puzzles in here that I felt were just stupid. It eases you into the process really well. I do think there are a tad too many easy puzzles. It's like, okay, I get it at this point. But it's a wonderful puzzler, and I think it is very much deserves to be spoken of in terms of Portal and its ilk. The only thing is that it's a very serious game. All this stuff you find on the computer, all this stuff you see here, it's all very serious stuff. You read about ancient Egyptian archaeological sites, and which is all very interesting to me, but I'm sure it won't be to some other people. And but if you just want to do the puzzles, that's fine. And the nice thing is that there are separate endings depending on what you do. And I believe one of them is actually connected to if you don't read all this stuff, if you just decide to go, without interacting or answering these little surveys on what it's like to be a person. But for all of this, I am giving the Talos Principle an 8.3. And it's a really great game. And I hope you enjoy playing it if you pick it up. For more on the Talos Principle, stick with IGN.